on the herbivore men in Japan. We're going to be talking about some PDA issues and where this has came from and why we're having this issue. First of all, in Japan, one of the big things that you have a problem with is most Japanese people don't really care about anybody else's problem, though they will be kind and smile and act like they're interested in you, but really they're not. They really aren't. It's all a facade. A common thing here in Japan is when you have friends, you may be friends with somebody for 20 years, and those people don't actually like you. It's just part of the culture that they have to. They will continue to act like they like you, but they really don't. And so in Japan, the way you want to be noticed is to not be noticed. And the way I just described this on a comment is a way I like to explain it to people. If you have, say you have 100 people standing in a big circle, and you're looking at it from, say, 100 feet away. Say you're on a football field and you're in the stands in the very top row and you see 100 people on the field. They all just look like people, and everybody's kind of talking and everybody's kind of doing the same thing, and they all just look like everybody's doing the same thing. That's Japanese culture. Everybody's supposed to do the same thing, not stand out. Everybody's supposed to just go along to get along and go with the status quo. Well, what the herbivore men are doing are just slowly moving away from that group and backing away and just saying, I don't want any part of it, and just slowly moving away. And what happens then? The people up in the stands say, what's up with that guy? Why is that guy moving away from the group? Now all of a sudden everybody can pay attention to him and everybody's eyes are on him. And the thing is by doing that, now all these people are turning around saying, oh, well, this person is the reason why we're having the herbivore men is they're weak, or they have no self-confidence, or things like this. And that's completely false. Any MGTOW man will tell you that that's false. To decide you want to live your life alone, and that you want to be able to afford a vehicle, and you don't want to have to get into debt for a woman, because that's basically what happens. A lot of women don't want to hear that, but that's the truth. When you take on a woman, you take on debt. And typically, like, say you have a wife that she went and got some artistic college degree, didn't really do anything with their life, didn't go and get, which most of them do, they go to college and they get some kind of crap that they really can't use. It's just a diploma, and they've got like a bachelor's of arts, and they can't do anything with it, So, but they have debt. They have, like, say, $30,000, $40,000 in debt. Well, when you marry them, you're expected to help them pay that. So you take on their debt. Now they've got your credit card, and they want a house, and they want kids, and I want. And a lot of these Japanese men are just like, fuck you, get the fuck away from me, They don't want to take on that. They want, if they have debt, they want to accrue it themselves and have something to show for it. So these people who are like, you're weak and you have no confidence, they're not weak. They just don't want to deal with your shit, and they don't want to take on women's debt. That's basically all it has to do with, And one of the things that women like to do is they like to use sex against men. And how they do this is there's actually a chemical that's released after a man has an orgasm, and it's called oxytocin. Now, oxytocin is what basically makes a man, after he orgasms, fall asleep, and they lose interest, basically. A lot of times, a lot of men will know, like, when you masturbate, once you've masturbated, you kind of don't care anymore, and you're not really interested in, porn or anything like that. You're just kind of like, I'm done, fuck it. Well, that's actually oxytocin. You've actually released that, and once you've done that, you're kind of, you don't really give a fuck anymore, and a lot of times you'll just fall asleep. So what women try to do is string you along, and the reason why they want to string you along is in your brain, it's a chemical reaction your brain wants to get the oxytocin, you know, so they can use that and they can string you along as you want, which is why a lot of these herbivore men decide to just watch porn, you know. They get the oxytocin that their brain needs, they can watch any kind of porn that they want, and then they can not have to deal with all the rest of the bullshit that goes with being with a woman, you know. And because of that, I'll say something that's really controversial. I believe that women and feminists are parasites, basically, because they have this idea that women are less than in society, and that they have not as many rights as men, they can't do as much as men, everything like that. Any man that's in a relationship with a woman will tell you that he has no rights. He has no life, pretty much. His life is hers. There's some studies that have went around talking about the fact that women will talk behind a man's back about him taking her out, because a woman feels that when you take her out to dinner, you should be taking her someplace that only she wants to go. If it's someplace that you even halfway like if you both like it, you know, she likes it but not really like it, and you like it but not really like it, if you go someplace like that, she says it was for you. It wasn't for her because you liked it. You have to take her someplace that that you don't like at all, but she likes. And if you do that, that's considered spending time with her. So you can't do things that you like together. They're just completely crazy. And the reason why I say they're parasites is because they monkey branch. You know, they're always looking for something better, and they love your credit cards, they love your money, they love everything you do to get you money. But the whole time they're complaining about everything you're doing. You know, when I was living here before, I used to export cars, and I was constantly on the phone, like 18 hours a day, working, busting my ass off, but I was making $100,000 a month. And all I heard from my wife is like, you never spend any time with me, and you never spend any time with the kids, and blah, blah, blah. But she was buying Louis Vuitton and Gucci and Aramis and MK facial products and all like high dollar shit. She had a closet full of like bags, and she would use them a couple times and throw them in there. You know, she had like high dollar suits that she would wear, and like, you know, just flaunting money left and right, and that was my money, you know. And she could spend my money, but then complain about me working too hard for it, you know. And this is something that women like to do. They like to appreciate the good things in life, but keep you on the ropes, not appreciating you. They appreciate what you can get them, but not appreciate you. And that's the big problem. That's why a lot of herbivore men here don't want to deal with any of that. If they work their ass off and they make some money, they can go out and get something that's theirs, and that they can feel proud that they worked to get that thing, you know. If you work really hard and you get something for your girlfriend, say like a diamond, you know, you feel accomplishment when you give it to them, but very quickly it's there's nothing there after that, you know. And it's kind of one of those things that it only appeases her for a few days, maybe a month, and then it's back to the blah 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 thing again, you know. Most guys don't want to put up with that. I know I don't. So yeah. Now the thing that we got going on, that people don't realize how big of a problem it is right now. They're estimating right now in Japan that here in 2015 there's 60 to 70% of herbivore men here. So 60 to 70% of the population in Japan are herbivore men, and they're still not trying to do anything, and they're just saying these men are just lazy. You know, the population is going to go like that if something doesn't happen soon, you know. And what needs to happen is these women need to realize what the hell's going on. They have these really high standards. They have these standards where they think that they should be able to get a man that's making really, really high amounts of money so that she can spend his money. That's what they want. They want somebody with a really good job making $100,000 a year so they can spend $80,000 a year of his money. And they usually put him on an allowance. And the money that they give him for a whole month is maybe $200 or $300 to spend when they're at work. So you're supposed to go to work and work 82 to 90 hours a week. And then you're only supposed to get a couple $100 a month from your wife. Why would you not have herbivore men with something like that? And this is where the government and these people are just saying like, oh, it's their fault. They have no confidence. They don't want to talk to women. You know, they're afraid to go up to a woman and talk to them. And that is some of the problem. But it's also in the back of their head. They're like, not only do I feel like if I went up and talked to her, she won't want to have anything to do with me. But even if she does want to have something to do with me, do I want to have something to do with that? And most of the time they say, no, it's not worth my time. You know, I'll just stay at home, watch some porn, play some video games. I'll be good. I'll go to work tomorrow. You know. And the other thing, a lot of guys will tell you, like any guy that's been with a woman and been married will tell you that coming home after work is the worst part because you're tired. You just want to sit down and watch TV, maybe have something to eat, something like that. And if you have one of these wives, which a lot of us did or do, you come home and she's like, nah, you got to do this, you got to go clean up the garage, you know, all this kind of shit. And on your day off, like say a Saturday or a Sunday, all you want to do is just sit on your ass and just relax for a little bit. And they don't let you. They go, oh, we got to go and do this, we got to go do that, and you're always running, and there's no time for you to just fucking relax, which is what's really nice about being a herbivore man. When you come home, there's nobody here. So you can come home, you can cook dinner, it's quiet, you don't have to listen to somebody barking at you, you don't have kids running around making noise, you can just be quiet, which is very hard to find here in Japan, a place where it's quiet, there's nobody around. So you come home, you've got a peace, quiet, and you can make your dinner, and you can take a shower, and you can sit and watch TV, and then you can go to bed. And you don't have it the whole time. You don't have to worry about somebody going blah, 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 at you, which is what will happen if you're married to a Japanese woman, you know. And they don't care. You know, they are not going to stop. That's the thing. The culture is going to go like that. There's no way it's going to come back up. And it's because there's so many people dying. There's so many people that are like... The culture is getting older and older and older, and the population of like new people is going like this. So after a while, these people are going to start dying off, and it's just going to like this to where there's nothing. You know, that's basically how the graph is going to go. It's like this right now, you know, with lots and lots of old people and lots of very few, you know, kids. And as these kids start to grow up and get older, they're not going to have any kids. So it's slowly, these people are going to start dying off, and then pretty soon they're going to die off too. And you're going to end up with like, you know, if you're lucky, maybe 80, 100,000, if you're lucky, 1 million people in Japan, you know, because people just aren't going to want to deal with it. And that's the thing. If in the MGTOW movement, if you do this in countries, if you start doing this, lots of people will wake up. Lots of people will be like, fuck. You know, especially, hopefully, women. I don't know. Women are very stubborn and they don't want to change their ways. And when MGTOW people and men try to tell women this, they won't listen. They don't want to listen to you. It's all your fault. You know, that's the women thing. It's all your fault, you know. So, what I would say as a MGTOW man or as a herbivore, let them say it. You know, I just let them talk, because they're talking themselves into a corner. They're fucking their lives up. It's not fucking up my life. I've got a fine life. I've got a house, you know. I've got a music store downtown, you know. I've got stuff I can do. I've got music equipment, you know. I've got everything I need. I don't need them, you know. So by them barking and acting like it's a problem, they're causing a problem for themselves, not me, you know. Because when they want a man and they want kids, and they want a house, and they want things like that, we're going to be like, nah, you're not getting that from me. You're not going to use me for that shit, you know? And then eventually they'll come to the realization that this is something they've been saying for a long time. Feminists love to say this. We don't need you. I don't need a man. I don't need a man to support me, to keep me. They do. Actually, they need a man, and it's been proven in studies, many studies, especially here in Japan. There's studies going around that have said a woman can go out and have a shop, and they can work, and they can bring home their little bit of money, but actually what props up the economy and keeps it going and keeps it going up is men. You know, that's what props up the economy. With no men working, the economy goes like that. It'll go down. Profitability will go down, GPA will go down, everything. The GDP, it'll all go down. So this is what's going to happen. And it's basically, we're coming up to this thing where men are realizing the government's not here for you. Women aren't here for you. They don't want any part of you. They don't give a shit about you. They want you to work and give me fucking money. And that's what the government wants you to do. Work and give them money. And Japan is very high in debt. America is very high in debt. And you have these people, these MGTOW men, that don't want to pay for that shit. It's not my debt. I didn't want to go to war. I don't want guys over fighting in some foreign country for oil. I want electric cars, so I don't want to pay for that. So I'm going to opt out. I'm going to say, fuck you. No, I'm not paying for that shit. So by doing that, these countries are going to go, their economy is just going to crash. And either they'll realize it or they won't. And my bet is that they won't. But either way, MGTOW men are going to be fine. You know, we're going to be fine. We're going to be on the outskirts being like, fuck you, go on, fuck off. You know, all these guys with kids and shit that are off in the corners, when the economy crashes, they're going to have to take care of their wife, they're going to have to take care of your kids, all this bullshit. MGTOW men are going to be sitting here, fine, fuck you, you know, I don't need any of that shit. You know, they're going to have their cars, they're going to have all their shit, and they're going to have money, you know, and they're going to have wealth, where these people just have a wife and debt, you know, and that's perfect for most of us, you know. So, yeah. Something that a lot of guys don't understand here is, some people do. In Japan, typically, if you're married to a woman, now the oldest son, a lot of people know these things, the oldest son has to take care of the family. So that's why a lot of men in Japan want a son, because as they get older, the grandmother and grandfather move into the house with the wife and the kids. So typically what happens, even if you don't have that, you still have your kids there with you. And typically nobody has sex in your home in Japan. They have sex in love hotels. And when you have sex at love hotels in Japan, you tend to have less sex. And typically in Japan, you'll be lucky if you have sex maybe once every 6 weeks to 2 months, maybe, because going to a love hotel costs a lot of money, so not a lot of people go there, and they want to feel in the mood, so you don't just go there and have sex. You go there, you like go and drive around, have some fun or something like that with your wife, and then your wife will say, or you'll say, like, let's go to a love hotel or something like that, because you're feeling kind of frisky or whatever like that. And it's sometime when you're not with your kids and you're not with your grandparents, you know. So obviously that doesn't happen very often, you know. So typically you don't have sex with your wife very often. You know, I personally didn't have sex with my wife but once every like 6 months, you know. So it was, you know, about 4 to 6 months. So it was like, you know, I was just a token husband, basically. Now the big thing we're going to have is the PDA. The thing with PDA in Japan is PDA will, this is what's basically destroying Japan, is the lack of PDA. Not being able to show affection and understand what it is from a child, from a psychological standpoint. You have to grow up, and it's a learned thing. You have to learn that. And if you don't learn it, you don't know it. It's just something that you don't know. And basically in the last 2.5 generations or so in Japan, that's what's happened. It's learned out of the culture now, to where kids don't understand what it means to have a relationship, to fall in love, to show affection, to do any of that stuff. And that if that stuff was brought back in, maybe there would be a chance. But it's not going to be brought back in because they think it's bad. It's not something you should do in the culture. You shouldn't openly hold your girlfriend's hand on a train, or openly walk down the street and kiss your girlfriend or kiss your wife or anything like that. You shouldn't do those things in Japan. It's very rude. So by doing that, not even in front of your children, you're teaching your children nothing about what it means to be married, to have a relationship, to love somebody. So by doing this, you're basically fucking up future generations, and this is what's happened now. You have these herbivore men that not only don't want to be involved with a woman. If they were involved with a woman, the only thing that they've seen from their parents is that they just have to listen to the mother yell, and they have to give them their credit card, and they just have to pay them money and work and have kids and never spend any time with their kids, because usually most kids in Japan don't have fathers that spend time with them. So they'll just know, well, I'm just supposed to get married, I'm supposed to pay a bunch of money, and I'm supposed to not spend any time with my kids, you know? And in saying it like that, when they think of like that in their head, they're like, why? Why would I do that? You know? So they just don't want to do it. And I wouldn't blame them. You know? When you think about it like that, why would you want to? Why would you want to sign yourself up for that for 50 years? You know? So why wouldn't you just stay single and have a fine life? Buy things, do things that you want to do, go on trips, go on vacations, have fun, you know? Live your life. You only have one life to live. I'm an atheist, so I don't believe in religion. So you only have one life to live. So why not live it? And not have somebody live and leech off of you. You know, that's the cool thing about being a herbivore. So yeah, this is what I was going to do this video on. I hope you guys enjoyed it on talking about some PDA in here in Japan. I'll probably go into more depth on all this stuff as well. If you have any comments, leave them in the comment section below. If you have any questions or any things you want me to do videos on, go ahead and do that. Share, like, and subscribe, and have a nice night.